What's up, everyone? Orange County got a result in a 1-1 draw against Tampa Bay, but I don't know. Does it feel like a good result? Did we leave something out there? Should the team come away with 3 points? We're going to talk about that. We also got a guest joining us tonight, so let's get this thing started. Welcome to the Podcast of Champions. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. Follow us on Twitter at OCSC_SoccerCast or on Facebook at Orange and Black Soccer Cast.
How's it going, Orange County? Welcome to another episode of the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, the first and only podcast dedicated to Orange County Soccer Club, its fans, and supporters. I'm your host, Ray Zamora. I'm here to take you through this journey as we discuss all things Orange County Soccer Club. Let's go through and see who's helping me out tonight. First, let's bring on the man from Las Vegas, and that's Mr. Brad. Brad, how are things going?
Things are going quite well. It's the first day of spring. Happy spring, and nice to be talking soccer again. Result, although not necessarily how the game looked, but a lot to be happy about on the field.
Yeah, we'll get into it. I think there's a lot of positives for fans to take out of the match, even though it was only 1 point against Tampa Bay. Plenty of positives to discuss as we go through this. Also helping us discuss this, the smartest member of the podcast team, and that's Taylor. Taylor, how are you feeling after the match this weekend?
I'm good. I feel like I need to always, be like, oh no, that's not me. I'm not the smartest, just so I don't, look horrendous on here and big-headed. But I feel fantastic after the game. We weren't able to make it in person, but we were sitting at a brewery and watching it on our phones, and it was just as exciting all the same.
How dare the brewery not have it on the TVs while you're sitting in there? How dare them?
I know. We ended up doing a little triangle with two phones, with both of our phones, so that Weston could see it on one side of the table and Ash and I could see it on the other. So it worked out all right.
Perfect way to. Hey, that's why we're fans, and that's how you know we are fans of this sport. Is we're gonna do whatever we can to watch. I think I told y'all, my family, we were watching one of the World Cup matches. It was the World Cup final match. At Knott's Berry Farm, the PKs, we posted up the phone at one of the little spots where no one was at, and we watched the PKs for that. So I know how that feels. Last but not least, helping us out tonight to discuss everything is the bearded man himself. And so far, it seems the beard's safe because only one Olaski's been playing so far this season. That's Mr. Larry. Larry, how you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm feeling okay about my beard right now because I did the math, and 80% of the minutes is what they have to play this year. That's 72 minutes per game. That means a total of 144 minutes total per game that the two brothers need to play. Milan has played 90. Milan has played 90. That's 180. But that means that I am 108 minutes to the good right now. I'll let you all figure out that math. Trust me, it works.
I do think, though, that we should include playoff minutes when Orange County make the playoffs. So we should do that, and we'll do a poll of that. And then as the supreme ruler of this podcast, I have the final say. We're counting it.
Nope. Nope.
If Larry was a good sport, Larry would consider it.
I am a very good sport. I am an exceptionally good sport. But not so much that I just want to give my beard up. I have a girlfriend to keep happy. What the hell's the matter with y'all?
You know what, Larry? If we had Dylan here, if he was still a weekly regular here, he would say, let Larry keep his beard. Or he'd have you just do a little trim off of it. Because if we all recall, Brad was supposed to go like fully shaved on his head a few years back. And Dylan let him off the hook with just a nice little sports clips cut. So apparently that's how we do things when we bet hair on this podcast.
5,000 minutes regular season, 34 games, 72 minutes a game. That's all they got to play. The fact that Brian broke himself again isn't my fault, but I will take advantage and not shave my beard if I don't have to.
I'm going to ask this, and we'll do an investigation because maybe you pulled, one of those things in ice skating where you went and like had
Tanya Harding.
Olaski's foot attacked mysteriously.
No, I was nowhere near LA that day. I'm sure I was somewhere else. I don't know where I was, but I wasn't in LA. You can ping my phone and find out.
And I'll say this, welcome to everyone watching live on social medias. That's either YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can watch us. It's actually also streaming on Brad's personal Twitter account. If you want to go watch there and see how it looks there. We're trying new things out here and we're testing stuff out. And that's what's happening. So if anyone wants to check it out and make sure it's working, go for it. But let's do this. Let's talk about some soccer, and specifically Orange County SC. Over the weekend, they hosted Tampa Bay. Again, this is about 12 months too late that Orange County is hosting Tampa Bay, but they finally did host Tampa Bay here for the second match of the season, coming off a 3-1 loss to Louisville City. You look at Tampa Bay, we learned last week, maybe not the fearsome Tampa Bay as in seasons past. They're still trying to figure out things, but it's a 1-1 result for Orange County. They pick up a point. I think a lot of people looking at the schedule would, before the season started, maybe would have been happy with 1 point out of these two matches at least. Maybe not happy, but you had to at least get 1 point. You'd be comfortable with it. But here's what I'll say after watching this match against Tampa Bay. Probably Orange County should have probably came away with a full 3 points with the domination of this match. And when you look at some of the stats, they had double the shots. They had double the shots on target. All the other stats and triple the corners. Everything else sort of was very comparable, but those are like 3 key stats you look at: the shots on target, corners. You look at those and you're like, man, Orange County got 15 shots, 5 on target. Tampa Bay only gets 7 shots, 2 on target, yet it's a 1-1 scoreline. And I think watching it back, the replay back, Orange County was dominating for a good portion of this match. I'm going to go to you first, Larry, because you're the lone member of this team that was actually at the stadium.
Yes.
As we all know, too, it was Beer Fest night. So if anyone was watching the live stream, it may be difficult to know what the atmosphere was like because a lot of the seats stay empty most of the match on Beer Fest nights because a lot of the fans hang out at the Beer Fest at least until halftime. And then even after halftime, they just sort of hang out in that area on that goal line and just sort of watch from there. They don't want to hassle with walking to the seats. Larry, what was the atmosphere like at Championship Soccer Stadium for this match? And maybe compare it to other or past experiences that fans may be familiar with at the stadium.
Well, as a lot of people know, I'm not the biggest fan of Beer Fest. Beer Fest is not my favorite night of the year. However, I thought that the energy inside the stadium was really, really good. There was a lot of people who were over in the Beer Fest area who were still cheering on and making noise because for the first half of the game, I was down at that end and I could hear them over there cheering. And when Emil scored, I mean, there was a whole line of just people along that back walkway behind the goal, and they exploded. So, I mean, it wasn't like, the playoff atmosphere from a couple years ago, or even some of the games last year where we had, big sellout crowds, but there were still nice crowds in the seats, and they were lively and they were making noise. I did see a couple of people wearing the bright yellow and blue, whatever the hell colors Tampa Bay is. So there was a couple of Tampa fans in there, and I talked to them briefly. It was a good atmosphere, and it was a good fun game. I enjoyed it. You're on mute.
So Brad, I'm pulling a Brad. I couldn't get to my unmute button quick enough. I realized it like a split second into it. I just couldn't move my mouse quick enough to get unmuted there. Unfortunately, I have someone doing an art project in my studio here next to me, so I wanted to make sure if there's any side noises, they aren't heard. Larry, as far as the results on the pitch or what you saw on the pitch between these two teams, do you agree with my statement that Orange County looked the more dominant team for most of this match? And are we disappointed that they didn't get the full 3 points? Because I think, especially early on in that second half, they probably had 5 good opportunities. I'm just recalling a couple off the top of my head, like Kyle Scott trying to meg a player to get a goal to the left post instead of a nice, easy cross to Milan Olaski, who would have had a wide open shot, a shot from Milan that had just an amazing save, a play where Oshandina goes up for a header and gets sort of undercut by the defensive player from Tampa Bay and gets knocked off balance. I mean, multiple I mean, opportunity after opportunity after opportunity for Orange County to score, and unfortunately, none of them resulted in a goal except for the one goal in the first half. If you remember my question now after I say all that.
I remember part of the question. Prior going into this game prior, and I had talked with a few people about it. There was a number of us who had mentioned that if we can get 1 point out of these 2 games and pick up the 3 against Vegas next Saturday, 4 points out of those 3 games to start this month, a very, very tough month, that would be a success. So we got the 1. Should we have had the 3? Yeah, I think so. The first 10, 15 minutes of the game, it felt to me, being on the sidelines, that Tampa Bay was really controlling the pace, controlling the ball. They weren't getting into the final third. And when we did have the ball, we could not seem to really move into, even really into their half. We had problems with that. Once we started going, though, at about the 15, 16-minute mark, we were dominant from there on, outside of, again, the first maybe 5 or 10 minutes of the second half. Where it seemed like Tampa Bay was more in control. Outside of those 25 minutes, the other 65 minutes, it was all Orange County. We had, again, like you said, shot after shot after shot. We had corner after corner after corner. At the end of the game, do I think that we should have had 3? Yeah, I really do. I talked with Emil after the game, and he really felt like we should have gotten the 3 points. I also talked with Marcus Nackham right after the game, and he liked that we got the point. He was happy with that, but he was really, really feeling like we were the better team all night. And yeah, Logan, I'm saying we after giving you a bunch of grief about you saying we with Grand Canyon. But these guys all felt like we were the stronger team all night. Marcus was really disappointed. I really like this kid. He's something special. But yeah, we should have had, we probably at the end of the day, we should have had the 3 points. We didn't get it. But still, it is Tampa Bay. Long history of success. Coming back after playing Louisville, perennial powerhouses, both of them. I don't care if Tampa Bay is, rebuilding or not. It's still Tampa Bay, and they're very good. So getting that point, hey, you know what? I'll take it as long as we can get the 3 against Vegas on Saturday night.
So let me ask you, Taylor, watching this match from the pub or the bar or the brewery, wherever you were, one of those things, they're all sort of similar. Let's talk about Emil Nilsson really quick. Probably a lot better performance against Tampa Bay than what we saw in the first match. I think when you look at our player ratings and even the community ratings, he didn't score very well. And I'm sure he probably would admit it wasn't his finest performance to start the season, but I think he looked really good in this second match. Obviously he scored the 1 goal, and it wasn't the easiest goal to score. He sort of had to, turn over his shoulder and quickly strike the ball because of a misplay from the defense or a weird bounce or whatever, but he looked pretty good out there. And I think the attack in general looked really good. Again, Milanilowski looked great. We know you're a huge Milanilowski fan. What did you think of the attack from Orange County? And do you think this is more the Emil Nilsson we should plan on seeing throughout the season?
I mean, I think it has to be. I think game 1, I was like doing what everybody does. It's like, oh, look at that. Here we go. We were promised all these players and how these players are going to do X, Y, and Z. We didn't get to see any, like the majority of them, because they're not eligible to be out there yet, and I'm like, just kind of like interrupt with that. But then the game against Tampa changes all of that instantly. I mean, we get to see like Nilsson, like that is what we can expect this season. And of course, people are going to have ups and downs. It's just a bummer that it was night 1 maybe was a bit of a down. But being able to like adapt to that kind of ball and have a quick turn like that and get it in, like that's the kind of decision making we need from more than just one player like Milanilowski. That's something that we need from multiple people, and it looks like we might be getting that now.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what you want out of your, if someone's playing your striker role, that upfront role, you want them to be able to react quickly. Wherever that ball bounces, you want them to be able to find it and at least get a shot on target, which we saw there for the goal for Orange County. What are your thoughts on the midfield? That's another position I think where Orange County totally improved from last week. The midfield just looked really solid. It looked like 3 players that were in sync when you look at a Kyle Scott, a Dylan Powers, and Kevin Partita in the midfield. They looked pretty good out there, and they were probably dominating that midfield part of the pitch most of the match. Maybe it's part of the game plan from Tampa. They were sort of giving Orange County the ball in the midfield and trying to force them to do some stuff in the final third. But I think the midfield looked really good. Definitely way better than the first match. Do you agree?
Yeah, and I think if Tampa's plan was to let OC have some space in the midfield, well, it just made us look great. It made us get some confidence in there for this game and hopefully for going forward. It definitely an improvement, not just from last game, but from last season entirely. Like that's something we haven't seen since we've had that championship team. So I think it's really exciting to have a strong defense, a strong midfield, and a strong attack all working together in one game and not oddball in it throughout the season.
And then Brad, one of you. Brad, Dylan's not here. I apologize. If I got anyone excited hearing the name Dylan, he's not here. But Brad, debut match for Cody Cropper, looked pretty solid in goal. Some good saves. Seemed very on top of it, and I saw him yelling at his defense for breakdowns a couple times, which is what you want to see out of your goalie. Unfortunately, we're talking about him as we're watching the highlights of the one goal scored by Tampa Bay. But all in all, I think his performance was pretty good. What were your thoughts on Cody for his debut match for Orange County?
Yeah.
And compare him to what we saw at a Shuttler last week.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was night and day over Shuttler, and it has nothing against Shuttler. I think Shuttler's a good player in of his own right, but you can see that Cropper comes in with more experience. He comes in with more organization for his line and accountability on the sideline. So that's always good to see, out of your goalie. But really, it was noticeable because he made some pretty incredible saves that game. Not that Tampa had very many opportunities, but any opportunities they had early on to take an early lead, Cropper was making some pretty decent saves. And, with goaltenders, the goaltender across the pitch, too, had some incredibly heartbreaking saves for Orange County fans. Off the volley, I don't remember who it was off the volley, but he makes a save there that ball was destined for the back of the net. So it's just interesting that Orange County should have scored more, but Cropper definitely is an improvement.
And that one save was on a Milanowski attempt that was sent in by Oceandina. A nice cross from Oceandina. I mean, that was a beautiful cross. To find people don't realize how difficult that cross is to find someone wide open in the box like that, because that ball takes time to travel through the air, and you have to know where your players are going to go, and it gives time for the defense to react to it. But I mean, it was such a beautiful cross. It's not a difficult. It's not an easy finish. It's a very difficult finish. Anyone that plays the sport knows it's not easy to volley a shot in from a cross like that came that far across. It was a great shot. Unfortunately, it was a really great save from the Tampa Bay goalkeeper. There was another opportunity for Milan where the defender got his head in the way, not probably planning to get his head in the way. It did look like, I'm going to ask that question because you were the closest to it, Larry. It did look like he brought his hands up to the face. Now, let me ask you that. Did he in fact bring the hands up?
Yes. And that's not the only one. There was another one as well.
So then let's sort of debate that, right? Should that then have been, I know we don't have VAR in USL Championship, but is that something that should have been called for hand in the box? I don't believe that would be considered a natural position, although, I mean, technically, I think anyone here, if a ball's coming at your face, you're going to put your hands up there to try and stop it. But I don't think in soccer terms that is considered a natural position. Brad shaking his head no. So I'm going to go to you first, Brad. If he in fact did put his hands up and it did also hit his hands, should that have been a penalty for Orange County and thus giving Orange County an opportunity to come away with 3 points in this match?
By rule of the law, yes. I didn't notice it in real time. Obviously, I was not at the stadium. And I don't really see many players advocating or calling to the referee to call that. So maybe it wasn't as noticeable on their end. I don't know. I can't give you a definitive answer. I wasn't there.
I only asked Larry because he's typically roaming the sidelines wherever Orange County is trying to score. So I know he probably was somewhere in the vicinity. Maybe didn't have the greatest angle to see it, Larry. And again, like Brad said, none of the players for Orange County were really lobbying the ref to make the call. So either it didn't happen or just no one really noticed it, or they just didn't think, which it's not the soccer mindset that I would think of. Like maybe they just didn't think it was, they should fight for it. Although I'll ask Taylor really quick and then I'll get to you, Larry. Taylor, if a soccer player or if a player on the pitch is not lobbying for a call, more than likely they didn't see something, right? Because I think any soccer player, any player on the pitch is going to lobby for anything that looks close to a call, correct?
Yeah, you're gonna lobby for a call, even if it's clearly not a call. But there's like, oh, there's a 3% chance that I'm gonna get that. Yeah, and it's part of like the mental game. And if you do that enough with a ref, they're eventually gonna doubt themselves. But yeah, I think if I didn't see it either. I saw like the flinch. I saw flinch as opposed to like hands to a ball. But I didn't watch the replays close enough. Replays were times for us to get another sip of beer in. But yeah, I just saw more of a flinch than anything.
And we all know that refs can be swayed in their decision making on the pitch. If anyone watched this past week in Tottenham, their match, there was like a kick from one of the players that totally missed anybody, but Maitland Miles went flying down to the ground. It was in the box, and a penalty was awarded, and Tottenham comes away with a draw instead of the 3 points. Yep, I had to get Tottenham in there.
Calm down, Conte.
It was no contact in the box, but they gave the penalty. Larry, final word on this. What was it definitively? Like, can you say if you were the final decision and you're the VAR, can you say definitively that it was the incorrect call on the pitch?
No, not on that one. But I mentioned a second ago that there was another one. There was a ball into the box, and I have video of it. I think Alex put the ball into the box. Marcus is coming up. Marcus leaps. Marcus gets the clean header on it, and it was clear as day because I had a direct line to it, and I've got the video. I'll post the picture I have of it. It's clearly Marcus's head. The defender's arm is up here. Ball clearly goes off of his arm and out of bounds. And immediately, now on that one, Marcus and a couple of the other guys immediately were calling for the handball, and it was waved off. And that was something I talked with Marcus about after the game as well. He mentioned something. He goes, and how do they not call the handball? He goes, I thought it was a handball. I'm like, bro, I said, I got video of it. I said, it's clearly a handball. That was the bigger one that they missed. And that one really, really got to me because that was the game winner right there.
You should have basically just said, welcome to refereeing in the USL Championship, because that's something to expect quite a bit throughout his time here in Orange County, right?
It was a pretty bad miss on that one. I don't know how the referee missed that one.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask each of you, are we satisfied with the result? Are we disappointed in the result? Or are we ecstatic in the results for this match? And I'll go to you first, Brad. Are you excited about the result? Are you okay with it? Or are you disappointed in the result from this match?
I feel like I'm just okay with it. If you told me going into this weekend, you had a 1-1 draw with Tampa Bay after week 1 and we looked the better team, I'll take it. Sure, we can be results oriented. I thought that Orange County was a lot better than the Rowdies this week, but that's just being results oriented. I think the team, there's a lot to look forward to. The team passes the eye test for what feels like the first time in like the last year and a half. It's the most complete game we've had since we won the championship in 21, and you cannot convince me otherwise.
What about you, Taylor?
When I was in the prediction, I was talking to my wife, Ashley, and we came into 1-1, and I thought I was being optimistic putting that in. I thought, I thought it could have been a draw, but like I don't like to say I could have been a loss, but I don't like to put OC as losing. So we went with a 1-1 draw. And I thought I was being optimistic. After watching that game, like we should have had the 3 for sure. But coming out there with that 1-1, super satisfied. I think it's a very, very strong starting point in the season for us.
And what about you, Larry?
I'll take the draw. I would have liked to have seen more. I would have liked to have seen us get the 3. But all in all, at the end of the day, I went home with a smile on my face, taking that 1 point home in our back pocket. I'm
going to sort of cheat here because I'm going to say I'm satisfied with the results. Getting a point against a team at the caliber of Tampa Bay, we all know they're probably going to be fighting at the end of the season as one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference, regardless of how they're starting out now. So that's a great result. I'm actually really excited. And I'm going to even go back, and someone may agree with me on this. I'm going to go back even to last week against Louisville. This team looks a lot different than the team we saw in 2022. Even though last week against Louisville wasn't the results any of us would have probably been hoping for, there was a lot of positives to take out of that match. And it looks like they took what positives we saw against Louisville. They used that same stuff against Tampa Bay, and then they extended, and they had even more positives to show out of this Tampa Bay match. It's one of those things we've talked about in the past, is that the sport is such a very fine line. There's a fine line between results of wins, losses, draws. And you could be dominating a match, and then just one bad mistake leads to a draw or leads to dropping all 3 points. In this match, Orange County looked by far the best team against Tampa Bay, or the better team on the pitch. And there were a good portion of the match against Louisville where where Orange County looked like the better team out there. I'm really excited if they can keep this up and they can keep growing from where they are here. They're going to look like they look like they'll be a tough team to deal with in the West, and that'll be exciting for all of us. Correct?
Absolutely agree. No question.
Yes. Let's do this, and I don't know if we have this ready, but let's talk really quick about our predictions, because everyone filled in predictions for this last match, and we've got our scoring system that's set up by Mr. Brad, and we've got a nice graphic that's been put together on this. So if you look at it, because of that great prediction from Taylor this past week, I think Taylor's at the top of the table, while I am sitting at the bottom, apparently, with only 1 point. Out of our writing team, it looks like Andy is part of that team, so he gets to be top of the table there. And then for our listeners, we do have a few people with 5 points. Kayvon, Lucas, Logan, all at 5 points. We got Chris with 4 points. So there's a good competition going on there. But continue to get those prediction picks in so we can keep this going and see who is the top person. We'll see. Is it going to be someone that's part of the on-air team? Is it going to be someone that's part of the writing team? Or is it going to be part of the fan group, the community at large, that's going to run away with the overall title? I'm just hoping that I could be close to the top of the on-air team. Everyone knows I typically fail at some of these predictions. But make sure you do jump on and make those predictions as we go through this and through the season. We will talk about the upcoming match here against Las Vegas Lights in just a little bit. I'm going to wait just a moment to make sure our guest will be ready to jump on the air with us, because we do have a guest scheduled to join us here in a minute or two. After 2 games, Brad, on a scale of 1 to 5, how are you feeling after the 2 matches?
I'm feeling a 4. We just played 2 of the best teams in the East Coast, probably the teams that'll end up 1 and 2 if they stay healthy. And there's a lot to look forward to for the rest of the season in that regard. So I'm pretty confident.
All right, Taylor.
I'm gonna go with a 3.75. I'm nervous still a little for injuries that may come creeping in. I'm unsure of what a regular start in 11 is going to look like once we get everybody in and ready to go. So I think there might be some shakeups happening. Who knows? So I'm gonna go with a 3.75.
Larry, how are you feeling after 2 matches?
4.87953.
Can you repeat that for me one time, please?
4.87593. I really, really like how this team looks. I was excited last week during the Louisville game. I got more excited watching these players play together as the game went on and got further and deeper into the game. This team is only going to get better. Milan Olaski is going to start putting balls into the back of the net really soon, like Saturday. And when Milan starts putting balls into the back of the net, and then you throw in Sparky McNulty and you throw Danny back into the mix, and with the bench and with the players, this team is going to be good and they are going to be dangerous. And I hope John Morrissey is listening right now. Take our playoff chances higher, John. You heard me.
Calling out John Morrissey only a couple matches into the season. Let's do this. Let's find out how this team can improve or what to expect from this team, we do have a guest joining us, and it's the midfielder and captain for your Orange County Soccer Club, Mr. Daniel Pedersen. Daniel, first, welcome to our show. And then let me ask you this straight off the bat. How disappointing is it to miss out on the Tampa Bay match and not get to play in that match?
Yeah, thank you for welcoming me. And yeah, of course, it was extremely disappointing for me not to be able to play that match. I was really looking forward to it. Also because even though we lost against Louisville, I felt that we stuck together as a team, and I really feel that we had a good chance of beating Tampa. I'm really excited for this team. I think we work really hard every day, and as I heard one of you guys say, we're only gonna get better. And I think also the game against Tampa showed that we are first and foremost like a solid defensive team. I think Tampa created almost nothing against us, and we created a lot of chances ourselves. So yeah, I was really disappointed that I didn't get the go from the medical team to play.
So, like you said, going from the Louisville match to this Tampa Bay match looked like a better team, better overall performance for the full 90 minutes. What's your sort of tactical analysis? What stood out to you from Orange County in this match from your teammates that made it look like Orange County was in fact the better team in this match?
Well, I think that first and foremost, as I said, we were very solid defensively. We kept a good team away from almost anything. So I think that was really, really good to see, because the disappointment from the Louisville game was that we let in 2 easy goals. It was simple mistakes tactically and position wise that caused these goals against Louisville. So I was really happy to see how we defended against Tampa, and also how we looked so dangerous. And I don't mind that we didn't score more than 1 goal, because I know it will come. The most positive thing for me was to see that we were so solid defensively, because I know we have a team that's going to score a lot of goals, and what's going to win us matches is that we are solid defensively.
Yeah, and you second year with the club now, and it sort of seems like this team is a very different team than was in 2022. Not just the roster, but even just like watching the team on the pitch and just watching the energy, the focus, the communication just looks a little bit different than what we saw last year. What can you attribute to the difference from last season to this season? Even though we're only 2 matches in this season, what are you seeing or what are you feeling differently from your teammates this year that maybe was lacking last season?
Well, I think that you can definitely feel that we have a team now that's going in the same direction. Everybody on the team is part of the team, and everybody wants to get better each day. And I think the training level have risen a huge amount from last year. And in general, it is the way you train is the way you play matches. So there should be intensity in training. There should be competitiveness, and you want to win in training. And that's how it should be, because that's what you bring into the games as well. On top of that, I think we've got some good new players in that really have put a mark on this team. You saw how good the defense looked with Foxy and Marcus. And on top of that, we got some individualists up top that can create something that we maybe was lacking a little bit last year. So as soon as we get to know each other a little bit better, you'll see the offensive creativity blossom as well. And yeah, as I said, I'm really excited for this season.
And as you mentioned, there's a lot of new pieces that have come in, and it seems like one of the focuses for Oliver and the rest of the front office was adding some depth as well. As we all know, last season there was some very thin moments in the midfield. There was definitely some thin moments on defense, because I believe you had to step in a few matches and actually play a center back role, which I don't know how familiar you are with that, but obviously you're more of a central midfielder and not a center defensive player, so that could be difficult. How does that feel going into it, knowing that you'll get some more focus on your main role and not have to potentially fill in some of those gaps? Because even if someone goes down, we have some depth now at some of those positions.
Yeah, I think that's good. Of course, it's always good to play players in the position where they used to play. But yeah, it's if I have to step down there again, I'll happily do it for the team. But I think in general, the most important thing is that we now have competition on every spot. So if you don't perform in training and in games, you're out of the team, and that's how it should be, and that's how a good team should be, because it will improve you as a player individually, and it will improve the team. So for me, that's the best thing about all the new guys we have brought in, and how the team is looking now, that it's you have to fight for your spot, and that's how it should be.
So it looks like we're all, very confident in the team. You guys are on the up and up. What do you think is going to have to be the one place that the team needs to focus on to improve that's going to make that big difference and just pushing us a little bit forward?
Well, I think as we also was lacking a lot last year was the clean sheets, and I think you guys probably also remember it from the championship season, that how important it is to be able to keep a clean sheet. You only need to score one goal and you win the match. So I think that should definitely be the focus point still. But I also feel like if we get the creativity up front, and if we get everybody to like know each other properly, I'm sure that there will be a team who not only will score a lot of goals, but we will also play really good football.
So, Dan, a couple of things. First of all, I want to say you're off to a very good start there. Just don't touch anything for like 6 months and you'll be here, okay? Congratulations on the captaincy. That's absolutely fantastic for you. And I think the team made a great choice. And I'm curious as to how that choice came about. Was it handed down from Orozco to you? Was it chosen by the gaffer? How did it come to be that you became our captain this year?
It was the gaffer who pulled me aside before I went home. And said that he would like to have me as captain next year, and I think it depended on what happened to Mike. Of course, he was a great leader for this club, and
yes, he was.
He was very well respected in all parts of the club. So I think if he would still be here, 100% he will be the captain. But now he wasn't going to be here, and we had to find a new. And I'm of course honored that the club chose me.
It's a great choice. Of the new guys who have come into the team this year, who has been the biggest surprise for you? We've got a lot of guys from the Nordic region, from where you're from, and maybe some of them from former leagues. And yes, Andy, I'm going to ask that question as well. Who really has come in and you're like, oh wow, I had no idea this guy had all this in him? Who's been that guy?
I think probably Foxy, Andrew Fox. I knew Emil Nielsen. I played with him before. I knew who Markus Nakim was. I knew how good he was because I played against him in Norway. But I didn't really make a lot of notice of Foxy last year, even though he scored against us in El Paso, but I was not playing that game. But I've been really impressed of how good he is. He's a really, really good defender, and he's actually also really good on the ball. And then he's also just a top guy. You know, he's a guy who's just walked in the dressing room and took the dressing room to himself at once. So he is, he's a guy that has impressed me a lot.
Awesome. One last question. You have a something special coming up here in the next couple of weeks. I believe you got married just about a year ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Is Maya correct?
Yeah.
Is she going to be coming out this season? Because I don't think I've seen her yet at the stadium.
Yeah, she's been there the last 2 games. So she is going home 1st of May because she has a big brother who is having his first baby. So, but she will be at the games until then. But yeah, I still have to figure out what to do on the anniversary.
Now, the really quick, the important question for you on this, Daniel, do you know what the traditional gift is for 1-year anniversary?
I'm actually not 100% sure, and I think you should text me because she's listening.
Look at Larry really quick. Look at Larry really quick.
Yeah,
paper. It's paper.
It is.
Yes. In other words, give her money. Give her money.
Or you could be more creative. You don't have to go with Larry's decision. Me and my wife tried to be a little bit more creative with our gifts than money.
I'm thinking about maybe giving her a golf lesson. We'll see if she'll take that.
You know, how you incorporate paper is you get the scorecard and you do that. And then there's your paper aspect of the gift, right? You got to be creative with how you interact or put those gifts in. Brad, do you have a question for Daniel?
Yeah, I got a couple myself. So, I mean, obviously you were on the bench this game due to, events we're not going to discuss here, but who was your MVP of this match this past weekend, watching in, and what improvements could you see to the next game against Vegas next weekend?
I was not on the bench. I was in the stands to be fair. But I think maybe Marcus Nakim was the MVP for me. I don't recall him losing a duel, and he also made a great action leading up to our goal. Took it past the strikers and found Kyle in the pocket. So yeah, I think he did a really, really good job in that game. And I'm sorry I didn't get your second question.
Oh, it's all good. What improvements, if any, would you make to that roster? Not roster, but how the team played. If you were on the bench and coaching, what would you have told them to change up during the game?
That's a good question, because I really felt that it was just a matter of time before we got the second goal. So I actually felt that we were doing really well, and that we should just keep on doing what we were doing. I didn't see the Tampa goal coming, so yeah. For me, I think I wouldn't have changed anything. I think the boys out there did a tremendous job, and yeah, sometimes you miss the chances, and sometimes you score them. And this was just unlucky that we just made the 1 goal, because I'm sure that if we made 2, then we'd also make 3 and 4.
So, ever since we started posting content to our page, we've had a significant portion of readers of articles of ours from Denmark. Do you have anything to do with that?
No, I know my family follows a lot. Some of my close friends also, but yeah, I haven't heard them say anything. So unless they're hiding anything from me, then yeah.
All right, and since he's not here this week to make any comment, if I don't believe we've had you on the show, if you were to cook a vegetable tonight, what would it be, and how would you prepare it?
Broccoli. I would fry. How do you say, on the pan? Fry it. Yeah, I like broccoli. I think it's a good vegetable, and I feel it gives you good energy.
Broccoli is a great choice. I will take broccoli any day. That's one of my things that it's easy to cook and it tastes good if you cook it right. One other quick question or two other quick questions for you, then we'll let you go. I want to ask you really quick. The last time you were in a EA Sports FIFA video game was the 2021 version, and you were given a 64 rating. And then, well, let me ask you this: do you sort of agree with that as your rating in the match, or do you think you were undervalued by the FIFA experts?
Oh, that's a good question. I didn't even know that I had 64 because we always got a 99 rated one to play with ourselves. So I think that's probably fair. If they value that, that's fair. I'm not really that much into that.
I just want to know like what your thoughts are. Like, are they undervaluing you? Are they not getting it right? One last thing, then I'm going to go over the 6 key stats they have and what the ratings were. You let me know where they not doing you right here. So your pace was 66, your shooting was 52, your passing was 62, your dribbling was 63, your defense was 63, and your physicality was 73. Were they pretty spot on with that, or was there something they didn't quite get right there?
I think they could put my shooting and passing a little bit up, and then I think the physicality is from when I played in Denmark a lot of years ago. I was a lot bigger. And yeah, I'm not that big anymore. So I think they could put that a little bit down.
And then one last double question for you. Do you have you found a favorite spot locally that you like to go, whether it's, restaurant, coffee, place to visit? And then B, have you found any great Danish food anywhere in Orange County that you'd want to share with our friends if they want to taste real Danish food?
Well, I've been to this wood ranch down in what's it called, Spectrum Center. I think that's nice also because they show some sports. I like to watch the Angels when they play, so that's for me a good spot. But I have not found any Danish food, and I would love to know if anybody found it. I know there's a Danish, or sort of a Danish town, Solvang, close to Santa Barbara. So my wife and I are definitely going to go there at one point. But yeah, if we could get some Danish flæskesteg here in Orange County, that would be even better.
Solvang's a really nice spot if you get a chance to go up there. I've been up there a few times. I actually love to go up there. But I will just call out our listeners and Orange County fans. If you know a great Danish spot for Daniel and his friends and family to go try out, let us know. We'll put it on there. Larry has one last quick comment.
Just a comment in regards to Danish food. Some of you may not know this, but I have in fact been to Denmark. I spent a week in a city called Viborg, and I have never been so hungry in my entire life. I'm sorry, Dan. I got nothing but love for you, buddy. But your food is just not built for this American palate. I'm sorry.
But I'm telling you, if you went to Viborg, you should have drove like 30 minutes south. You would have reached my hometown, and I promise you that there we have great food.
But when I was there that long ago, I think you were probably about 9 years old. So
it's gotten a bit better since then.
Awesome.
All right, Daniel, I want to let you head out, but if you have any final words for our listeners and all the Orange County fans that are planning to be out there this Saturday as you face the Las Vegas Lights, what message do you have to them?
Just that I hope you guys come and support us, because I don't think we really had a chance to tell the fans, but it means a lot that we had a season like we had last year. But even though we had so many games that were sold out or nearly sold out, and for a player to know the support from the fans is just it's everything. And all the noise you can make, it gives us a little bit more power, and especially in the final and important moments. So I hope we can make you proud on Saturday, and hope we can win. I hope we all together can have a great season.
Awesome. Thank you. Once again, everyone, that's Daniel Pedersen. He's the midfielder and captain for your Orange County Soccer Club. Thanks as always, Daniel, for joining us. Hopefully we get to talk to you again really soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, so let's talk about this, the upcoming match really quick. We don't have much time to do it, but let's do it. That is a match against Las Vegas Lights FC. Our producer Andy did all and everything he could to try and find an expert on Las Vegas Lights FC, and apparently crickets. There's really no media. There's not even, I don't even think what Electric Lights really follows him. I think the closest thing we could get to an expert is the person that lives in Las Vegas currently, and that's Mr. Brad on our show. So he's going to be our temporary expert on Las Vegas Lights at this point. The weird thing, I'm looking at their schedule. What, it's like 8 road games to start the season for Las Vegas Lights. That has to be just crazy, annoying, weird. But have you heard anything? Is there any, anything to talk about in Las Vegas about Las Vegas Lights, Brad? Have you heard any murmurs on the street?
I could not tell you anything going on with the team in terms of on-field expectations. I haven't really followed them, but as for the late home game, Andy put it in the comments. The Vipers play at Cashman, and that's the new XFL team, and I think they have lease on that stadium until May. So opening weekend for Vegas down here is against Charleston on Cinco de Mayo.
So talk about
fitting.
We're complaining about our start to the season, and you're looking at a team Las Vegas, like 8 matches in a row on the road has to be horrible. Although I don't know if Kubo is yet playing for them, but we'll see a familiar face with Las Vegas when they come to town.
He did make his debut already.
Awesome.
That one I can't tell you. But as for what to expect with Vegas, really, I don't even know if they have their affiliation with LAFC where they're training and coming back up. But I believe they still are training down in LA, and that they'll be just driving over from where LAFC plays. They're not the same team as they were 2 years ago. They're not the same team even as last year. I think you can expect from them just basics, and they're learning who they are right now. Fairly young or aging team, and a bunch of veterans who are going to be trying to earn minutes back in the league.
But apparently for Orange County, Las Vegas tends to be a struggle, at least in recent seasons, I believe. Larry, how are we feeling about this match? Like, what do you think? If Orange County plays like they did against Tampa, do we get the 3 points against Vegas?
Yeah, we get the 3 points and we win 5-1. If these guys go out there and they move the ball and they play the defense like they did on Saturday night, Las Vegas doesn't have a chance in hell. There's none. Did I say 0? None.
Taylor, let me ask you really quick, and then I'll get back to you, Larry. Any tactical changes, any tactics you would see that you'd want to use against a Vegas team? I don't even know if you've watched any Vegas matches, so it's hard to ask this question. Or again, is it just stick with what we did against Tampa? Maybe fit in a player or two that is fit to play in the match, but other than that, just do what you did.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of nervous to see what happens up front, and I don't know what I would do in Chaplo's position. I really don't. Like, there's so many good people up top. I don't think I would change anything if it worked that well against Tampa. Like, we're gonna crush Vegas. Like, that's just my opinion. So I'm gonna just leave it there. I don't want to jinx too much.
Larry, did you have like one more thought you were gonna
Well, in regards to the changes, Taylor, Correa is out. He's in Venezuela. He's on the U19 or U20, whichever one he got called up to. So Correa is not here this week. Daniel's back, so he's going to be back in the 18 or in the 11, which I'm sure that means that maybe Powers comes off of the bench. McNulty's going to be back in the fold. Thomas Among is going to be available. Owen Lamb is going to be available on the pitch. I think that we're actually going to see. I'm guessing, no expert knowledge. I'm guessing we're going to see a few changes to the lineup, starting with Correa. And the question is who goes onto that right wing? Is that a spot for McNulty? Does maybe Bryce Jamerson get the opportunity? I'm not exactly sure. Is McNulty a true 9 and Among's a wing, right? Correct? Yes. Anybody?
You're as big an expert as we are here, Larry. So we'll just say yes.
please. I grew up playing baseball. I didn't even like this game until I was 25. So, but yeah, I expect all of those guys, Lamb, Tomas, Sparky. I expect all of them to be making their debut on Saturday night.
All right. This is like one of those matches where you rotate a little bit, right? Because it's not a top tier opponent, but the hope is you don't over rotate and then put yourself in a position where you have players that don't quite know how to fit with each other yet, and then it results in a poor result, which was sort of what we saw a little bit last year or last season. Against the weaker opponents, we struggled a little bit to produce. So hopefully it's a strong enough lineup. You do tweak a little bit here and there because this is a sport where you can't play the same 11 week in and week out and expect them to be healthy and fit towards the end of the season. You need to do some rotating here and there. So hopefully this match becomes a match where they can do the rotation, but it doesn't impact the results on the pitch. Last thoughts before we do quick predictions for this match. All right, Brad, I'll hand it off to you. You can pick who goes first for predictions.
All right, well, Ray, I'm going to hand it right back to you. You can go first this week.
Why do I never go first for this stuff?
Exactly.
Should I just already resort to my fun pick? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try and win this year. I'm going to go with a 3-0 victory for Orange County, and the first goal scored will be from let's go with Kyle Scott, because he seemed to really want a goal last week, so I think he's going to try for one this week.
Taylor, you're second.
Alrighty, I'm gonna say 3-1. I wish I could give a clean sheet, but until I see one, I'll never predict one. 3-1 win for OC, and Ilowski's gonna he needs that. He's digging for it. He's gonna have that first goal.
All right, Mr. Larry.
I'm feeling like a clean sheet's coming. I think that Cody's going to come up with that. I'm not ready to fully 100% commit to that on paper with the prediction sheets yet. But right now, right this second, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say 2-0 Orange County with Milan opening his account for the year. I just don't know if Milan's going to be first or not. I'm going to have to think about that a little bit further.
All right, and I'm going to go with a Larry-esque prediction of 2-0. I think that this team will start scoring a lot more, but I don't think it'll start happening in full this week. I think we have another week of a little bit of, where we're expecting to be, but then starting the following week, and especially into the Open Cup game, this team's going to score a lot, just like the captain said. And I'm going to say that I'm impressed with how he's been doing so far. I'm going to eat my words. Kevin Partita is going to score the first goal this weekend.
There we go. Awesome. That's going to sort of wrap things up here. Any quick random thoughts from anyone? If anyone has one, I will go first. VAR sucks, especially in the Premier League. Anyone else?
VAR could be super useful in the USL Championship League.
I will back that up and say I'd like to see you find a way to institute that in a stadium such as where Luton plays.
Who's Luton?
They play in a glorified high school stadium.
You mean Loudon?
Yes. I mean,
tomato.
Roll the credits. Roll the credits.
I have nothing
German
to say about VAR. I'm just going to ask everybody and all my friends out there to wish me luck. I got a big job interview on Wednesday, and it could make some huge changes. So
best of luck. Best of luck to you.
Yes.
And a reminder, 1 year anniversary, paper. Paper is the gift for 1 year anniversary. If you do traditional gifts, I don't know what the modern gift is. Don't ask me that.
I just asked Ashley. I said, "Is that what I was supposed to do?" And she said, "Yeah." I said, "Sorry, I failed you."
There's a cool thing called Google where you can actually type in what's the traditional gift and you put in the year and it'll tell you exactly what it is. And you can even get ideas of what you can do for them. So
yeah, I tried that. She divorced me anyway. Whatever. I don't care. I'm not mad.
I want to thank everyone, all of you, for jumping on like you do every week and help out with this. Taylor, Brad, Larry, our producer, Andy, and also our guest this week, Daniel Pedersen, captain of the Orange County Soccer Club. Thanks for taking time to join us. All you listeners who contribute in the comments and talk with us, talk with each other, thanks for doing that. This is the Orange and Black Soccer Cast, and we are out.
Peace out.